up, y'all? Jason here, representing Raptor Reptiles, and today I'm bringing you a video about some breeding experiences I had this season, some insight, some things that I've learned, some things that I've seen that I really don't like, just to kind of give you, a first-hand experience from somebody. I make these videos, like I said, I'm not breeding for the money. I'm not breeding, to get 1 million subs. I'm not trying to be a YouTube celebrity, but just for, the people that follow me, they ask me a lot of questions. They want to know certain things. So this way I can kind of show you my first-hand experience, because remember, you can do all the research you want, but you cannot buy experience, period. You just can't. That's something that you have to experience yourself and figure out. So, a lot of people, right now from what I see on social media, just different pages I recently started following, seems like everybody either wants to be a breeder or wants to be a future breeder. And I feel like they don't quite understand how much work and dedication goes into it. If you don't have the passion for the animals, then you will fail. If you can't take out, at least 2 to 4 hours out of your day, every single day, to feed the babies, bathe them, check up on ones that aren't doing as well, observe them while they eat, and all that, then this probably isn't going to be the hobby for you. But with that being said, that doesn't mean that you can't be a great collector of dragons and it still be, your hobby. So also, with that being said, what I learned was, I did multiple pairings this time, and I'm not afraid to say that I may have done a pairing too many. I probably hatched out roughly 250 baby dragons. I have about 60 left. Most of them are holdbacks. One more clutch from Mellow and Big Bub, so I'll be holding those for a while, because right now we're in literally the heat of it right now. This is, breeding season. It's starting to come a little bit more to an end here, and you can see that with the prices online. They're starting to come back up. What happens is, most of these dragons, they want to breed in the summer months. So from what I saw, from pretty much June up until October, the market just got extremely flooded. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of great dragons out there that I saw, a ton, multiple ones that I even bought myself, but there are also some that I felt weren't really too desirable. So what I mean by that is they really were pretty much getting, and there's nothing wrong with buying a dragon. I mean, I personally don't like PetSmart or Petco. There's a lot of sketchiness going on there, so I never would buy a dragon from them. But there's nothing wrong with buying a common bearded dragon if you want that as a pet. But what I've seen people are doing, they say, you know what, screw it. I got 2 bearded dragons. One's a male, one's a female. I don't have any lineage on them, and what I mean by that is they don't know, who their parents were, their grandparents were. They don't know nothing about the genetics, and they say, screw it, I'm going to put 2 dragons together just because I have it, and I want to be a glorified breeder because everyone else is doing it. It's a cool thing to do right now. So they put these 2 dragons together. They don't know anything about it. They have no experience. They hatch them out. They see it's a ton of work. These dragons, I've seen people selling them as young as, pretty much a week out the egg, which is absurd. Like, you cannot ship a dragon that's, I usually don't ship my dragons until they're at least 15 grams if I can. So they're usually around, I would say 12 to 16 weeks is when I really like to sell my dragons. if I do go to a reptile expo, I would sell some as young as 8 weeks old, as long as they're about 10 grams, are all healthy, no health concerns, and I feel comfortable selling it to that person. Because that's another thing. When you're selling a dragon to somebody, they could maybe wanting a dragon for such a long time. They finally find one. You just put 2 dragons together you knew nothing about. Maybe they were closely related. The pairing, wasn't good. You didn't really get any desired genetics out of it. They kind of look a little bit plain. And then you tell somebody, oh, it's there's a lot of inexperienced people out there. You tell them, oh, it's a sandfire red dragon, and it's going to be really red. And then as that dragon develops, it just develops into a common, brown or dark colored dragon, which doesn't seem to be doing too well right now. People aren't really too interested into that. So that's something that I really didn't like, that I really saw a lot of. And what that does right there is, a lot of people too have been messaging me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. They want to buy my animals. I think my prices are quite fair with the amount of work I put in. I'll tell you right now, I haven't made much money. If anything, like I said, I'm breaking even, but it's a hobby to me. I have a full career on top of it. It's not something that I'm doing to make a quick buck. I truly do enjoy it, and I'm chilling with my prize and joy right now from my first ever dragon hatched, baby Scarlet right here. And you can tell she's not so much of a baby anymore, but that pairing came out great. She's from Big Bubba and Mellow, and as you can see, she's just completely saturated now with these beautiful blue bars. Really big dragon, thick tail base, thick legs. She's definitely going to be a future breeder here. So like I said, when I started my line here, so I didn't dip into the whiplets and the zeros and everything. I wanted to establish some hypo-trans, hypo-het-trans leatherbacks of my own, to then breed these newer morphs into them to create my own line. So with her, I'll probably make some really nice either het zeros or het whiplets out of, just because she's just thriving. She's just thriving here. I mean, I couldn't be more happy with her right now. So, like I said, that's the difference between a good pairing and a bad. I'm sure some people got sold dragons that unfortunately, so she's 8 months old exactly, and I'm sure there are some dragons that will be an adult and will not even get to be this size or be this healthy, or they could have health issues and all that. So just make sure you really do your due diligence, do your research on the breeder, make sure they know what they're talking about, maybe quiz them, ask them a couple things that's relevant, like, hey, who were the parents? Can I see pictures of the parents? What were the parents' genetics? What are the baby's genetics? Kind of, see if the math adds up there. If anyone's selling dragons, when I've seen them sell as cheap as $10 a piece, non-wholesale, which is ridiculous. For a nice wholesale price, if somebody's selling them for $20, I can understand that. Or if you're selling it to a pet shop, which I did do, I'll say I did sell to some nice local pet shops here that I have a nice rapport with, and they're really reputable. They go to a lot of the reptile shows that I attend, and they needed dragons, and like I said, I hatched out more than expected, because Mellow laid 5 clutches of 25 to 30 eggs, and I hatched them all out. So I said, sure, no problem, we'll make a nice working connection, and I'll sell you 20 here, 20 there. So it wasn't really too detrimental with me getting my dragons out around the country, and it worked out for everyone because I trust that pet shop. And then, like I said, there's also some pet shops I don't trust, and some people that I wouldn't sell lots of dragons to. So before I even sell anything, I always ask the buyer too, what do you want the dragon for? Are you planning on reselling it? Do you do reptile shows? Are you trying to flip the dragons, meaning you're trying to buy them from me for between $20 and $40 a piece, and then sell them for $60 to $100? So those are the people I try and stay away from, because they don't have the best interest of, the dragon at heart. They're just looking at the dragon as some money. They're saying, all right, I'll put $40 down. I know I'll get double in return. I'll get $80 back. I'll double my money real quick. So there's a lot of people there at the reptile show, and a lot of undesirable people that I've seen there that even come up to my booth and just ask me the most, bizarre stuff. Like, they'll ask me, hey, so you do business is good, right? And this is, I'm sure, pure money in these bins. And I'm like, no, man, you got the wrong thing right there. I'm like, I do this as a hobby. This is my job. I enjoy it. And those are the people that I won't even sell a dragon to. Or they'll ask me, what's the best 2 dragons here that I can breed and put together to, And I'm like, you're going to breed 2 dragons from the same clutch together? No, I said, that's not how that works. I'm like, I think you should do a little bit more research. And then I'll kind of push my YouTube page and kind of explain to them that it's not as easy as just getting 2 dragons, putting them together, hatching out the eggs. Like, the process of breeding a bearded dragon is really not that difficult. Once they go into brumation, if you do take a male and a healthy female and you put them together, they will breed. They're reptiles. Their instincts are strong. They'll breed. They know what to do. From then, you take care of the female. You get a lay bin. They'll lay the eggs. You get an incubator. Anybody can really do that part. The hard part is after they're hatched out, can you A, afford it? B, are you willing to make sacrifices, like, watching football on, Sunday, going out to the mall, going to the beach? I mean, this stuff takes a lot of time. And then if you want to sell them, then you have to sex them all. Then, you have to feed them twice a day and then bathe them. And, babies, they go to the bathroom a lot, so those bins, they get dirty very quickly. You have to clean mine every other day. I mean, I do that every other day because I want to keep, any bacteria, parasites, everything down to a bare minimum. So every time you do that, I gotta hydrate them. So, like I said, it's just not as simple as I being like, hey, I really love dragons. I have 2 of them. Let me put them together. So please don't think that, because what that's doing is it's really harming the bearded dragon community. It's really just making their prices drop to the point where anybody can really buy a bearded dragon. I mean, if you go to a reptile show, you see them, 20, 30, 40 bucks a piece. Anybody can buy them. And I've seen even a lot of people try and buy them from me. They don't have a tank. They don't have lights. They don't have done 0 research. And they ask me all this stuff. And I'm like, before you really buy a dragon, I think you really need to research it, because they're really not they're not as easy as everybody thinks. Yes, they're a reptile, but their needs are, their needs have to be met, and they have to be perfect if you want them to thrive and do well and be happy and healthy. So it's not as easy as putting a dragon in a 10-gallon tank, turning the lights on, giving it, people give it iceberg lettuce in the morning and feed it a cricket, once a week. Like, if you do that to a dragon, it's probably not going to even make it. But that's the stuff that I deal with on a daily basis, and that's the stuff of being a breeder. And, a lot of people have come to me too, and I'm telling you, my prices are fair. I'm willing to sell dragons, anywhere between $100 and $250, depending on how, I see fit, how big they are, their, their color saturation, their morphs. And, I try and sell them, and then they'll come to me and say, hey, I found somebody else that'll sell me the same dragon, and then they send me a picture. What do you think? Bro, I really don't care. You can buy from whoever you want, but know that you're not really going to get all my support, if you don't buy a dragon from me. If you're buying it from somebody else and they're not standing behind their dragons and helping you out and walking you through certain things and educating you, and then you want to come to me and ask me to do that for you, why am I wasting my time doing that? What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, go to my YouTube videos, research it and everything. And I'll be like, so in the long run, you're going to end up actually spending more money because you bought from, maybe an 18-year-old kid that put 2 dragons together in his mom's basement, hatched them out, realized how expensive it was, and then just sold them off really cheap. And you're really not getting quality. So because a dragon doesn't have a bunch of different morphs and the colors aren't good, doesn't mean it's not a quality dragon. But what I'm dealing with are breeder quality or above dragons. I don't deal with common dragons, ones from, you know, PetSmart, Petco. I spend a lot of money on my breeders, and when I buy from certain breeders, I don't question them. They tell me what the price is. I trust in them. I respect how much work it takes to breed them and how much goes into it. And I'm either going to say yes or no. If you do decide, you know, the only time, you know, you're really going to get a discount is if you're going to be like, hey, you know, I'm going to buy one, you know, a couple dragons, and then a breeder may say, okay, no problem, you know, I'll drop the price a little bit, you know, and that's normal, you know, that's expected. Or if you're a repeat customer of, you know, a specific breeder, they may say, hey, you know, I can give you a good, you know, a better deal, you know, than everybody else, just because, you know, I'm getting some repeat business. So there's really a lot of, you know, logistics and everything that really goes into breeding, and you know, it's kind of been a little bit upsetting, to be honest with you. You know, I'm either dealing with you know, from the good people that have bought from me, you know who you are. We talk on a regular basis. I offer you all my help. I stand behind all my dragons. Anyone that knows there ever was an issue, which I don't believe there ever was, at least that I'm aware of, no one's come to me and said they weren't happy with the dragon, or there's something wrong with it. But if there was, I mean, you can always come to me. You know, we could work something out. But yeah, it's just been upsetting, because most of the time, you know, it's, you know, other people also, they try and barter with me. They'll be like, I'll give you this 10-year-old corn snake for a dragon. Does it say that my dragons are on my page and say that they're up for trade? No, I don't do trades, period, because I don't know you. I don't know what environment that dragon's been in. I don't want to introduce it into my colony knowing that it could possibly have parasites, adenovirus, you know, coccidia, pinworms. I don't know what that dragon has. So unless it's something I really want and you've taken it to the vet and you can prove to me that that dragon is 100% healthy, I still wouldn't consider it, because my dragons are not up for trade. They're up for sale. So it's not my fault if you're young and you can't afford one of my dragons. I mean, I'm sorry. If you can't afford between $100 and $250 for a dragon, you really shouldn't be in the business, and you shouldn't own one, period. Because the amount of money that you're going to spend on feeders every week is going to go well over $100 probably in the first month. So it's probably going to cost you about $100 a month to feed your dragon if you're buying from PetSmart or Petco. If you do buy in bulk like I do, you know, thousands of crickets at a time, but I have a bunch to feed to. Those crickets would never live that long. They're just going to end up dying off, or they're going to get too big for the dragon to eat. So, you know, it's really a touchy subject, but it has to be said. I mean, people are, it's just crazy what I've been seeing out there. And, you know, even just the competition between the breeders at this point is just like cutthroat, unbelievable. Like I said, I followed a couple pages, and just the amount of drama I see, and people calling other people out. My dragon's better than yours, my dragon's bigger than yours, mine's, you know, better looking than yours. I mean, that's like really, really petty of somebody to do. I mean, if that's your livelihood and you make money off of dragons, I'm sorry, you probably shouldn't. Like I said, you don't want to look at these amazing creatures as a source of income and money. Like, they're animals too. I'm sorry, I just don't agree with that at all. If it's like, you know, most people use it even as like a side hustle to make a quick buck. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with that, but if you want to break even and, you know, you're producing quality animals, then I don't see anything wrong with that at all. You have the space for it, you have the money. And I'll tell you straight up, when I was at the peak of, you know, all the dragons I bred, I was spending about, my feeder bill was $400 a month. $400 a month. And that's getting from somebody that I know, a good friend of mine, you know, that since I'm buying in wholesale, that was giving me, you know, good deals. If not, could easily have been $800 a month. So you have to do your research and, you know, make sure that you can do it, because the worst thing you can do is hatch out these dragons and then release them into the public and put them in the hands of people that shouldn't have them. that's the worst thing that keeps happening. And another thing with what I'm going to be doing now is I'm really downsizing right now. From now on, the max I will ever breed in a season is going to be 2 females. That's it. There's no need to do more. This way, I want to enjoy them. This year, it was just so much. I couldn't really enjoy the babies because I had so many to tend to that, you know, it's taking me, like I said, 2 to 4 hours a day just to get everything done. I just couldn't really enjoy them. I held back too that I really, you know, like to have a couple more holdbacks, but I'll release that in some more videos coming up. But you know, like this, like I'm holding her and I'm enjoying her right now, and it's great. Like I'm, you know, now that I only have 60 left, it's like great. I mean, it still seems like a lot of dragons, but let me tell you, when you have, you know, 150 that are just chilling, it's a struggle. It really is, and it's really not fair for the dragons. So, but now I can really spend time with each one of my breeders, and you know, my prize Joy Scarlet right here, she's just absolutely stunning, and I'm just so proud of myself and Kate, like, for what we did, and you know, this year, and the headway we made on the YouTube page. I mean, I know this is a little scattered, I'm kind of all over the place, I really didn't get all my thoughts together, but there's just so much out there that I've really just held in, and just, somebody has to say it. No one said anything, no one says anything, everyone glorifies everything. I'm even glorifying it on my page, making it look like it's so great, and it is. There's nothing like hatching out dragons and then watching them develop and being like, wow, you know, I had a major role in this right here. I took 2 real healthy dragons with, you know, inseparable genetics, and I put them together to create this. Like, who would have thought? I didn't even think I was going to create this beauty right here when I put Big Bubs and Mellow together. I mean, I knew she was beautiful, but you know, what she developed into is something else. In this, I got little Ivy out, also produced here at Raptor Reptiles out of Mellow and Salem. Beautiful girl. She's a translucent, normal scale, 100% het hypo, 50% het wit. So this girl right here, she is one of my holdbacks. So figured I'm just gonna kind of rotate my dragons in and out of the video to kind of make it a little bit more entertaining. But what really does annoy me are, you know, the people that don't want to put in the work. They don't want to do their own research. They don't want to read books. They just want to ask me, you know, stuff that's so simple that you can find out for yourself on the internet. For example, genetics. So many people will tell me, like, a male that's this genetics and a female of this genetics, what will I get? Go on Google and search in bearded dragon genetics and do a little bit of research. I don't have time for that, to be telling you stuff that's so easy to find out on the internet. So if you don't want to put in the work, then you have no business breeding dragons, period. If you think you're just going to do it to make a quick buck, you are sadly mistaken. I'll be the first one to tell you that right now. But you know, I'm just going to tell you guys some first-hand experience, because remember, you can't buy experience. You just can't. And anything that you do, you have to experience it on your own, and you have to learn from yourself and see what works best for you. Because what has been working for me, another breeder could say that's completely wrong, and I do it this way, so you know, my dragons are better. No, that's not true. There's no set in stone way to do anything in life. You can always find your own way to do something. If it works well for you, then keep doing it. If it doesn't, then you know, you can outsource and ask other breeders, hey, you know, this isn't working for me. Do you have any advice? And that's fine. That stuff right there, if you're asking for advice and stuff, I don't mind telling people advice, or you know, some caretaking information. That's not the stuff that bothers me. It's these breeding questions that are really just starting to get on my nerves here. And that's when I tell people, you know, you just need to pull out a book or go online and, you know, start learning for yourself. Because I learned mainly, not everything on my own, and I am going to give a shout out here to some breeders that have really helped me, and I have bought dragons from all these breeders too, and we have a very you know, nice rapport. But I don't ask them stuff that's very easily you can find out for yourself. So without further ado, I just want to thank David McLean over at Lizards of Oz. He's still, and I believe, one of the best breeders out there at the moment. He's definitely still up and coming, but he has produced nothing but great animals that I've seen, and you know, all my animals from him are doing great. No complaints at all. Then I want to give a shout out to Wayne Robinson. He's been breeding for years, and his bearded dragon name is Venom Dragons. That's where I got Magnus from. Also great guy, offers great insight, and something that I like that he does is he will link to you certain readings and articles and stuff that you can read on your own. Like if I ask him a question, I'll be like, hey, check this out and see what you think. And I really appreciated that. It was some really good reads that I found about genetics and pedigrees when you're breeding, and you know what you should be looking for. Kavong Pa over at KP Critters, definitely one of the best top breeders, I would say, in the world. In my opinion, he's been around for a long time, and he just produces straight quality every time that I've had experience with. And then somebody new that just started a YouTube page out on here, Keith Dennis, Genetically Modified Dragons. If you haven't visited his YouTube page, he's doing a great giveaway. Give his video a like, check him out. He also has been around a while, offers some great insight, and you know, he's given me a lot of new information that I was looking for that had to do with the whiplets and the zeros, and you know, kind of working at a, you know, great lineage for your own lines. So now that those shout outs are done, the most time and effort that goes in is after the babies hatch. That's when they're most delicate and require the most attention to detail, and you have to be on your game and have done your research and know exactly what you're doing, or else your babies aren't going to thrive. They're just not going to do well. So you have to have everything prepared. Like, for example, I had my whole baby rat created well in advance before I decided to breed. I had bought an incubator, and then I had built my own because it didn't fit my needs anymore. I got, you know, different dragons from different breeders with different pedigrees and genetics I was looking for, and you know, did calculated breedings. You know, and this is another thing that really annoys me is, you know, these people that are just putting, you know, they're a collector, they have two common bearded dragons, one from Petco, one from PetSmart. Not saying that they're not great dragons, but they don't know anything about them. They're taking them, saying, you know what, I'm going to be a breeder now, so I can say that I'm a breeder, and think that it's so glorifying. They put these two dragons together they know nothing about, and they get a bad pairing. They just get nothing out of it. They get, there's no genetics involved, no pedigrees, and from what I've been seeing out there, that's not what people want. Maybe for a first-time owner, but for the people that are mostly following all these pages, they're looking for, like, you know, very unique dragons. They want the leatherbacks, they want the hypos, they want the trans, and now they want the zeros. Now they want the whiplets. Now people are going to be looking for these weeros, which are the whiplets and the zeros. So it's just always constantly changing. So you have to know the market. So yeah, they put these two dragons together they know nothing about. They don't know the amount of time, money, and effort that's going to go into raising these dragons up to the point that you're going to be able to sell them. You can't, I mean, you can sell them out the egg, which is ridiculous. I've seen people doing that, or the people are selling eggs. Like, what are you doing? What is the point of that? You obviously don't have the dragon's best interest at heart. You're just in it for the money at that point. I haven't sold a dragon under 2 months old. So that means from the time they hatch out the egg, I have to get them from that crucial point, you know, up anywhere between, I would say, 6 and 7 inches and roughly around 10 grams. And when they're little, as everybody knows, you know, they're very ravenous on the food. They eat a lot of food. They require, you know, a lot of care, cleaning out. When you have, you know, 10 dragons into a bin, you can't be lazy and have one dragon be like, I'm only going to clean the tank once a week. You know, you're pretty much turning, you're almost turning your home or wherever you do it into a, you know, sterile breeding facility that requires a lot of attention. So you're going to be cleaning it every other day. You're going to have to feed them twice a day. You're going to have to bathe them at minimum, you know, twice a week to make sure they're hydrated, because when they're babies are even more delicate. And depending on the morphs, the ones that I noticed took the most amount of time were the translucent ones. You're also going to get runts that are in each clutch. So let's say you get 30 eggs. Let's say in the wild, out of those 30 eggs, maybe you're only going to have in the wild, maybe, I'm just going off 90% hatch rate. From there, the ones that are going to make it to adulthood and actually thrive are going to be the strongest, healthiest, smartest dragons. But now that, you know, we have modern science and we have a better understanding of these animals, you pretty much can almost have a close to 100% hatch rate, and then you may only lose 1 or 2 dragons out of the clutch that obviously had an underlying issue, something wrong with them. And I've been really fortunate this year. I haven't lost any dragons, not even the runts. So, but still, out of that clutch you may get 4 or 5 runts that are going to require special care. You're going to have to separate them, you know, watch them even more. So yeah, really, it becomes a lot of work, and you know, you're gonna have to make a lot of sacrifices here. If you want to take care of these dragons properly, that stuff is out the window. Especially if you're like myself and you have a career and you're working another full-time job, that stuff is secondary to me now. You know, it was a little bit of a shock, but you know, I pretty much missed the whole summer because I was at home either going to reptile shows, tending to these dragons, and I honestly, for myself, didn't realize it was going to be as much work as it turned out into. Am I mad that that happened? No, because this is my hobby and, you know, a passion of mine. I really do enjoy it. I'm just saying it's a lot of work, and that's something that you really need to consider. On top of that, make sure you're not a kid living in your mom's basement and, you know, you're going to be a breeder and make all this money and never have to work a job. That's just, you know, ludicrous. It's crazy if you think that that's how it's going to be. The market right now is not what it was. It's flooded. These dragons, they can lay up to, you know, 6 clutches. Most lay 2 to 330 eggs. So you got to think everybody that's breeding is going to be hatching out 100 baby dragons. So, and like I said, with modern science, most of these dragons are going to end up making it into adulthood, or at least to the point where you're able to sell them. So that's going to drive down the price here. That's why you've seen pretty much from, you know, June to right now, October, which was prime breeding season, you've seen a lot of dragons going for $20, $30, $40, $50, and, you know, even the really high-end ones were going for $200-$300. This is a species here that in the wild, they have to produce such big clutches because, like I said, maybe only 10% of those are going to even make it to adulthood and breed again. So, but now that, you know, we have them in captivity, they're very hardy animals. If you treat them right and do your research, most of them are going to live, you know, 7 to 10 years if you do, you know, if you're doing the right thing. So that also drives the price down with them. So anytime somebody comes out with a great new morph, the price is going to be extremely high. You know, it could be $2,000 for one. Let's say they come out with a new morph for a purple dragon. I'm not saying purple paradox. I'm saying just all purple, just for the video's sake. You come out with that, you can sell that dragon for $2,000 to $5,000 each one. Once people start getting their hands on that dragon and start reproducing that morph, because they produce so often and so much, that's just going to keep driving. So the price is going to be up here. Each year it's going to drop down. So from $5,000 the next year it may only be $2,000. You know, then from $2,000 down to $500. It goes fast because they produce so quickly. And then that morph is just going to be as common as a Petco dragon soon enough. So keep that in mind when you breed. Just make sure that this, you know, like I said, I'm lucky to have be breaking even right now. I'll tell you that right now, and I'm fine with that because I said that I created this YouTube channel to help people out, and I did it because it was something that I liked and I wanted to just document it, and it was something that I, you know, was really interested in as a kid. I've been dealing with reptiles forever, so just keep that in mind. If you're doing it for the money or a quick buck, you're not going to do well, and no one's going to know you. Like, I'm even still building my name up I'm producing, I would say, some even more quality dragons than some people that have been around a while, but they just don't know about me. So some people are scared to take a risk or a gamble, so you have to establish your name. That can take years. That could take 5-10 years before people are like, you know what, this guy's good, and you get a lot of reviews and everything. So keep that in mind as well. Like I was saying too, my feeder bill a month when I was at my peak with all the babies was about $400 a month. $400 a month. So about $100 a week to feed them adequately, to get them up to weight and healthy. So it's not cheap, and that's cheap what I got, because I get from a good friend of mine here that he breeds the insects, and he wholesales them to me because I buy so many. But it could have been easily $800 a month. And that's not even an exaggeration, that's the truth. That's another thing too. Like if you're going to college and you don't have a career yet, it's probably not the best unless your parents can really afford your hobby for you, which if they do, more power to you. I mean, I had to earn everything that I've ever had. I guess that's great for you. You lucked out, then you can do that. But like I said, if you're scrambling to get together $100 to buy a dragon from me, and then you're telling me that you only have $40, you shouldn't really own a dragon. Because even to feed one dragon, if you're buying in small quantities, the feeders from Petco or PetSmart, I mean, your feeder bill could easily be $50 a month, if not $100, if you're feeding them the right way. So if you can't afford the initial investment of the tank, all the equipment, the lights, everything you need, and the food, then you shouldn't own a dragon. And they are a very unique animal, but their needs are very specific, so you have to do your research as well. The temperatures, the UV, maintaining that their environment's clean. I mean, these guys are just like dogs. They can get parasites just like dogs. You have to have a vet on standby if they're not doing well, because once a dragon starts showing signs that they're sick, it could be even too late. So you have to really pick up on all this stuff, and that will come with experience. And that's the experience that I'm saying is okay to learn as you go. But the initial stuff, like the setup and their diet and everything, that stuff is so easily researchable. Like, why are you asking me? Why are you asking me such simple questions like that if you can easily look it up? Put some time into it. Show me that you actually care and want to own one of my dragons. If you're asking me what they eat, I'm probably not going to sell you a dragon. And I've seen a lot of ridiculous people come up to me at the show, don't know anything, want to pick my brain, and then ask me which 2 dragons out the clutch that they can get, that they can breed in the future and make a lot of money. First off, that's completely backwards right there. You're not going to breed 2 dragons from the same clutch later on. So I explained that to them. And I tell them, before you breed, I think you should maybe own one as a pet. But even before that, I think you should do some research before I just sell you a dragon, and then you're going to call me in a week, say that it's not doing well and it died. So I'm very picky with who I sell to at this point. Especially now that I'm, even less, to have less dragons left. I have just my holdbacks and 1 clutch back. I'm not just selling to anybody, because the ones I have left, I really want them to thrive and do well. So just make sure you do your research. Then another thing this season that's really pissed me off, and last year, are even these top end breeders you would think. Not any of the ones that I've listed, but some that I didn't list that I've gotten dragons from. They pretty much sold me a sick dragon. One that wasn't thriving. Either they were underweight and shipped them too soon to make a quick buck, or they sent them to me sick, or there was some kind of defect going on with the dragon. Why would you do that to somebody? If someone's giving you their hard-earned money and trust and say that they are a breeder, I'm not a collector. I'm telling you that I'm a breeder. So you would think, all right, this person is going to need the best, the best 2 dragons of my clutch that I have right now to offer him. Because I know in the future he's going to breed, and I want to give him the best stock I have. And I trust in them, because I'm not there, because I'm usually buying from people from different states. And, I'm still learning with who I want to buy with and who I don't. And they're just telling me, they're yesing me to death, telling me don't worry about it, I got a great reputation, the dragon's going to be great, you're going to love it, it was a great pairing, the previous year, and look what I've produced this year. and then you get a dragon and you open up the box and you know you're so excited, and then you're like, what the hell is this? Like, I gave you my hard-earned money and trust that you're gonna give me a top quality dragon, and you didn't. And the process of then, you know, bringing that dragon up to where it needs to be and shipping it back, and then, you know, some breeders don't want to give refunds, they don't want to accept their dragons back, so I'm super selective now. I'm really only going to probably buy from those select breeders I bought, and maybe a couple more that I may want to deal with in the future, depending on how their services are and what their quality of dragons are. But it's a tough market out there, so if somebody's asking me a bunch of questions about my genetics and pedigree and experience level, I'm fine with answering that all day long, because when I buy, I ask the same questions. But when you're asking me, when you're telling me that you can buy one of my dragons for $50, what do you think my response is? I could care less. I'm selling the dragons for a fair price, and I'm selling them for what I feel they're worth and the amount of time and effort I put into it. And if I do sell it to you for $50, how are you going to even feed this thing up into adulthood? How are you going to feed the dragon into adulthood if you couldn't even afford, $100? Doesn't make any sense to me. So I tell them nicely, go ahead, you can buy from that person. And let me tell you, a month or two later, they hit me up and they're sending me pictures. Oh, there's something not right with my dragon. I said, hey, confront the breeder that you bought it from. You didn't buy it from me. I literally have no ties to you. I offered you my insight. I offered you my services. You decided to go with somebody else. So ask them, why are you coming to me asking me all these questions? Because I'm not going to sit there and waste my time after you clearly stated, I don't want your dragons, it's too expensive, I can get cheaper. Why am I going to offer you help at that point? That's something I don't understand. So remember, in this hobby, you get what you pay for 100% of the time. There's always a catch. If you think you're getting a steal, you're not. You're either getting A, you're getting scammed, or you're getting something from a bad pairing or somebody that just was doing it for the money. Because no one that puts all this time and effort in is going to downmark their dragons to the point that is for wholesale. That's just ridiculous. Another thing, I put my dragons up. They're up for sale. Never in there do I say that I'm trying to trade them. I get a bunch of 16, 17-year-olds, even adults coming to me. Alright, I'll give you this 10-year-old corn snake for your dragon. Where does it say that I want your corn snake? Like, I don't want your corn snake, so don't try and do trades with me for other reptiles or boas, or I'll give you a hamster for a dragon. Stop wasting my time. Nowhere there do I ever say that I do trades. And the reasons I don't do trades is, if you're trading the dragon away, in my eyes, I look at it like there could be something wrong with it, or you don't want it for some reason. I'm also not going to introduce somebody else's dragon into my colony unless I know where it's coming from, if it's been vet checked, if the person I'm getting it from is reputable, because I don't know if it has parasites, it could have adenovirus, it could have coccidia, and then now I'm dealing with my whole colony being infected. So that's the reason why I don't do trades. So please don't ask me for trades anymore, because I'm not doing it. And just one more funny one that I got too this season. Some guys like, I'll trade you my fancy dragon for one of your normal scales. First off, none of my dragons are normal at all. They're either all hypo, trans, or they're holding genetics that are hypo or trans, or they're normal scale or leatherback. Nowhere do I sell. I don't sell Petco or PetSmart quality dragons, period. And I spend a lot of money on my dragons. So when I do breed them, that I'm getting quality out of it. So some people are trying to sell me their $60 PetSmart lizard for one of mine, which why would anyone in their right mind do that? So please stop sending me that stuff, because you're gonna get blocked. Also, another thing too, just goes for in general. If you're ready to buy something and you have cash in hand, I'm telling cash, money in hand, or you have it on your debit card, you can barter. Not barter, but you can try and bargain. If you are trying to make a deal with somebody for multiple dragons, or you're trying to get the price lower, $10, $20, and you tell me cash in hand, I'm a nice guy. I may say, you know what, at the time, I think, you know, I did my research, I asked you questions, I think it's going to be good. I could do that deal for you. And then you come back and say, oh, I won't have the money for a month. You literally just wasted both of our time right there. Cash in hand means cash in hand, so keep that in mind. If you're ever trying to make a deal, let's say you go to a car dealership and you with a car salesman, you're with him for 8 hours and you finally work out the best deal ever, and then you come up and say, I'll give you that next year when I have the money. You're gonna look like a moron. So don't waste my time with that stuff. That's just common sense. So with that being said, my dragons are set for the prices they're set at. Unless you're buying more than one dragon from me, or you're a repeat customer, or there's some underlying circumstances, I've been talking to you for a long time, or you've been a loyal subscriber or a friend of mine, I may offer you a deal. But if you're just some random person and you know you're doing all this stuff, my prices are set what they are. I think that they're fair. I could be selling them for $200-300 a piece, which I don't, because I want them to go to good homes, and I understand they said, you know, with the economy and stuff, I understand, you know, money's not what it was. So if I do decide to offer you a deal, then I do. If not, my prices are set. So yeah, with all that being said, you know, a lot of it may come across harsh, but it's stuff I deal with on a regular basis, and you know, there's some etiquette involved when, and responsibilities when you decide to, you know, buy a dragon or exotic animal. And, you know, it's not like having a hamster. They do require a lot of care, so I just keep emphasizing that. So please, just continue to do your research. And with that being said, what I plan on doing now in the future is I'm going to be downsizing a little bit here. I got a lot of things in the mix. I may be moving. I may be taking on a new job out the country for a year. So it's just going to leave Kate back here. It's so much work. It's even for one person to do. I couldn't imagine doing all this, and you know, Raptor Reptiles wouldn't be what it is without her. So you know, I can't thank her enough for all the hard work and everything that she put up with, and the amount of dedication that she's done, because as much as I care about these animals, so does she, and she's always there. Like I said, in the future, I'm probably only going to be doing a maximum of breeding 2 females, but probably next year I may take the year off, or I may do 1 pairing, but I'll keep you guys gotta stay tuned for that, because I do got some really nice dragons here. I would like to get 1 pairing complete, but with that pairing, you know, with what I've learned now, I feel like I really got it down, and I know what to expect for next time. And I'm not saying that all this, you know, this whole experience, it was great, like one of a kind. I mean, it's hard to even say that you've bred any animal successfully and sold them and had so many people just be like, thank you so much. I mean, you know, I've sold to people that are, you know, that are like, hey, you know, I have anxiety and depression, thank you so much, this dragon's really helping out so much, such a great temperament. Or I got other people like, hey, I bought it for my son, he loves it, he's into it. And that's the stuff that I just love to hear, and it just makes it so, you know, worthwhile to me. Or even somebody else like, hey, you know, your dragon's looking great, from a reputable breeder. He's like, you know, I can't wait to breed it next year. Who would have thought that, you know, that I stumbled across you, that you're going to produce such an amazing dragon. So all that stuff means a lot and makes all my hard work, you know, feel appreciated. So when you hit me up and ask me to buy one of my dragons for less than PetSmart, I kind of take that as an insult. I really don't want to talk to you at that point. So like I said, I'm not doing this for money. I'm not doing it for the subs. I'm doing this to help everyone else out and to kind of document my experience over the years, and just kind of look back and learn from it. So if that's not what this channel is about, so if this channel isn't for you in this video, feel free to unsubscribe. Won't be any skin off of my back at all. If you want to unfollow my page, I really don't care, because unless you're interested in my information and, you know, my journey and insight, or are interested in buying a dragon from me, or want to learn more about bearded dragons, then I can't help you. So let's see. So yeah, I'm probably doing 1 or 2 pairings this way. Like I said, because when you hatch out 250 babies, I mean, I can't even remember the last time I could really enjoy my breeders here or any of the dragons that I produced, and I'm able to handle them now and really just enjoy all my hard work, and it feels great now. So like I said, if I breed a pairing and I get 2 or 3 clutches, I know I can hold on to those dragons pretty much to adulthood. I wouldn't have to worry about anything. I wouldn't have to worry about space. I wouldn't have to worry about money. So I'm kind of just building up my name now. So for everyone that has bought from me and supports me and has been following the page and that's been learning and asking great questions, I really appreciate that, because this is what I want this to kind of be, more of like a form, informative, and like I said, but don't come at me and ask me if you put Dragon A and B together, what are you going to get out of it, because I don't have an answer for you. Do some research, read a book. Don't waste my time with that stuff. And if you don't know what you're going to get by putting 2 dragons together, you have no business breeding, because I can't imagine you putting out anything great into the bearded dragon community at all. So yeah, just do your due diligence, do your research. I'm here to help you out the best I can. If you've bought a dragon from me, like I said, you have 100% of my support always. I'm always going to be here, either myself or Kate, to answer your question. But if you told me you didn't want one of my dragons and you bought from another breeder and they don't want to help you, and then you're coming back to me, I'm not going to be there for you, because I have other customers and other people that have been supporting my journey into breeding that are going to come first. I may answer your questions because I'm a nice guy and I actually care about the animal's health, but you're going to kind of be put on the back burner until I answer all my questions, because when I wake up in the morning, I usually have 4 or 5 people that have hit me up and are asking me questions, or they're emailing me, and my loyal subscribers and people that actually have a dragon from me are just going to take priority. So that's how that's going to work from now on as well. So yeah, that's kind of where this channel is going right now. I'm going to start releasing a lot more videos like this on my own experience and insight, because even someone's been breeding for 20 years, like I said, what works for them and what works for you could be totally different. So I'm going to start sharing my stuff and what works for me. So please don't correct me and be like, oh, such and such told me this, because there is no end all somebody knows everything. Because a good breeder once told me the day he stops learning is the day he's going to stop breeding these beautiful bearded dragons. So I definitely agree with that, and that was something that kind of clicked to me, and I was like, you know what, that's a really great perspective on it, because you're constantly learning. There's constantly new morphs coming out, and you will make some mistakes on the way, but that's the experience that you're going to gain to help you in the future, and that's completely fine in my eyes. If you make a couple of mistakes, I mean, that's just life. I've made tons of life mistakes, and I'm here where I'm at right now, and I have no complaints. And even you can kind of just fail your way into success sometimes, and that's what life's all about. It's all learning. When you stop learning and you think you know everything, that's when you're going to make all your mistakes. You're going to get complacent, and bad things are going to happen. So yeah, I hope this video wasn't too blunt. I'm not singling not one. This isn't a video to single anybody out at all. This is just like kind of an overall. I know it kind of got scattered a little bit about. Yeah, I hope try to make it as entertaining as possible. Try to show you a couple of my lizards on the way, but I will be doing another colony update, another feeding video, so we'll get back into those. I'll do a couple bathing videos with the babies I have left, so yeah, just stay tuned for that. Look at this girl, what a great temperament, she's just chilling. So yeah, just stay tuned for that, and like the video, share it, and as usual, stay tuned for more.